as a wildlife photographer or a human being, for that, I think humility is extremely important. To know that you are not the best out there. You have still things to learn, and there are people around you that yet haven't done wildlife photography more than a year, but still can provide something for the people, the guy that has done it for 30 years.
Wow, yeah.
But I think my best tip for you who are thinking about that is to stay true to yourself, because that will keep you on toes and keep you like in the bad times. But I think I learned so much in life before YouTube that for now I can navigate to like say to myself on beforehand, this is not going to be a picnic. This is not going to be a walk in a park. There will be times that this is going to be hard, and there will be times that you won't see the numbers going the way you want to see them.
Yeah. Welcome to the Bird Burger Podcast. Today, I'm honored to be joined here by Trond Westby, who is one of the OG creators in the movement of wildlife photography on YouTube and is an absolute legend and inspiration to so many of us. Trond, so you started YouTube about 5 years ago almost now, and at the time it didn't seem like there was many people around there doing that. What kind of was it that interested you in starting to tell a story on YouTube in wildlife photography?
For me, I think when I started back in 2010, I'm searching for like knowledge everywhere, and one of the most like interesting knowledge was through video. And I followed a Hungarian guy called Ben Simati, and he had some videos. I think that was made for TV, but that was uploading at YouTube. And I was seeing those over and over again. And as I grew as a wildlife photographer, I thought maybe, that I could do that. I could do the thing that he does to inspire me to be a better wildlife photographer and have knowledge about birds and wildlife. I think I can do that myself. And as my like personality is, I have a urge for learning stuff. And also to give it away. So I love to like do it 150% and then also show others how to do specific things in photography and what's important to think of and how to get close and everything. So I thought maybe it could be a cool thing to do as well as wildlife photography. And the thing with wildlife photography, it can be, we say, a little like one track. You are falling into a one track and doing the stuff over and over again, depending on which season you are in. And when you do that over years, it can be a little, I don't want to say boring, but it's a little repetitive. And can make it a little problem for getting inspired. So doing YouTube was also a new way for me to learn new stuff, to be a videographer, a producer, and also learning more about YouTube and how to do all that kind of stuff though. And that made it interesting and grew over time. Also, finding it very interesting to learn more about sound, how I can incorporate it in the videos with like ambient sound. So I bought a recorder, and I think that is probably the thing I went into it, because it will like help me maybe to keep my interest much higher. And of course, if someone is watching it and getting inspired, I think that's a total bonus for me, and I love it. I didn't expect that anyone want to see this, but of course it's humiliating when people are giving feedbacks and being so supportive to my channel.
Yeah. Yeah. Here you are a couple years later. And yeah, I mean, I know thousands of people watch each video that you release, you know, and you've had some videos with hundreds of thousands of views. And that must be an awesome feeling. And you've definitely inspired a lot of people. Was anyone else, because the way that you do it is kind of like this wildlife photography vlog type of style where you're taking people on a journey with you to actually experience a little bit of what you experienced that day, right? And
yeah.
At the time when you started, was there anyone else doing it in that type of a way, or was it only people doing more talking straight to the camera, just giving like a list of tips, or were people doing it the way that you were doing it at all?
The way Ben Simate's videos was published was mostly a guy, like you saw him in the situation where he photographed birds from a pond that he made, and also photographed birds from nesting places that he provided for the birds, and made a huge farm. And then another guy who narrated it and talked over the video, but he told like the viewer how to do this and how to do that, but not on a vlogging style. It was more like a informative video, and gave people insight in like his work and how he's built his work and so on. But I think probably the only one that I knew from before YouTube, I knew Morten Hilmer through Facebook. I think he was the only guy that did similar videos as mine.
Yeah.
Probably more, but I hadn't like did any research. But my main reason for it was just the urge for showing people how I got my images. So, and I knew that I didn't have any experience of videography or producing or anything, or like edited in editing program for videos. I didn't have any knowledge at all. So I knew that I had to learn. But I knew one thing. I had a couple of years of experience, and I had developed a skill for photography, and I knew I had just a bit of image quality though.
Yeah.
And if that was enough to trigger people's interest in maybe knowing how I took these images, that I thought that was a exciting thought to experiment with that. And sitting down like a talking head in an office, or no offense to someone doing it, but for me, I think it has to be, for me it's more interesting to make the video in the field, and more like having people to come along with me. And it's for me, like, wildlife photography can be like a lonely hobby, because you're out by yourself many times, and that is of course a great thing, because I'm a person that has a job with like meeting people. I have a family with kids, and getting out and meeting no one is perfect.
It's relaxing. Yeah.
It's relaxing. But I think that, like, for me to like taking people with me in a different kind of way than just in the field was quite exciting to do. And I think that is the reason why I started this.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. Yeah, I at least in my research, and when I started watching wildlife photography on YouTube quite a while back, the only people that I can find when I really started that 3-4 years ago was you and Morten Hilmer, and I think a lot of people, that's where the root of this kind of all is. So it's really cool how you two have really carved a path and like kind of like a base level for YouTube wildlife photography creators, and that's been really awesome and a very positive thing I think you've contributed to the community. So that's so cool. So you talked a lot about kind of like how it gave you something kind of new and exciting, doing this YouTube thing of kind of bringing people on this journey with you rather than just doing wildlife photography. Do you find yourself maybe even almost more interested now in telling the story of your wildlife photography experiences than the actual wildlife photography itself?
Yeah, I think I had developed a more urge for telling a story and showing people a bigger picture.
Yeah.
Of course, I love to be out and like having the perfect images that I had like imagined in my head. And then like making a video around that was great, but to a certain point it got a little bit boring for me to do. So I thought, why not like taking even more of my life and how I do and prepare and my struggles and everything. So I think I have learned a lot of doing that. And one example of that is in December. November and December was a hard month for me in many ways. But I learned something a day that I didn't want to go out to photograph at all. Not just like making a video, but I didn't want to go out and photograph because I was tired. I had a lot of work. We were moving my work to another place, and I had to work many hours. And I didn't find any energy in anything. And I thought that I just need to go out and I need to bring my camera and I need to just make a video, whatever happens. And yeah, let's just like do it. And I did. And I didn't know beforehand what I'm going to photograph. And I drove by a riverside where I saw a dipper. And I was quite excited, and I started to vlog as well. But I didn't knew at that time that I'm going to get near the bird, or if the bird was just passing by or never comes by again. Then I'm just finding a place. I'm constantly vlogging, constantly telling of the problems that almost every wildlife photographer has, that they don't know anything if the bird is going to show up.
Yeah.
But it turned out to be one of the most memorable days I ever had, because I think it was, of course, a mixed feeling of I didn't want to go out, but when I did and something happened, I was so excited. And when I got home, I got a couple images that I was happy with. I got home and started to edit the process. That in a certain way, it dawned on me to think that, wow, I need to tell more of those stories as well. So I've learned that I just need to take my camera whatever I do. Not even if I had my camera with me, or if the camera stays in my backpack all the time because I don't see any wildlife. I just need to have my vlogging camera to record everything, so I can use in a future video to tell the whole story. And one example of that is with the beaver at my cottage. I have been there many times now, and every time I'm bringing my vlogging camera, but I have not gotten any images yet. But I think in the end, that could be a really cool story.
Yeah.
Because it tells more of a real life. And I remember another YouTuber called what is it, Andy from Sweden.
I might not be familiar.
He likes to photograph like shorebirds and ducks as well, and he made a video a couple of months back, and talking about that it's been a long time since he'd been out photographing, and has been out a couple of times but did not see anything. And he said in the video that it looks like Trond is out photographing, and every time he's photographing, he's nailing the shot. He's getting an image of a wildlife or a bird. And that is not the case at all.
You're telling me you don't see something every time that you get good?
Nope. But of course, I cannot make a video on every trip that is not getting any wildlife. But like if I have my video camera and just tell a little bit of the story, and of course I have, before I started YouTube, I like have memory of times I went out to photograph shorebirds, and I think I went out 9 times without any picture. And the 10th time I got it, the birds so close, and I got most beautiful pictures that I've gotten. And then the climax of the hard work that I put in, though.
Yeah.
And at that time I did not record it, but I thought that if I can record that and showing people more of that like journey as a wildlife photography, I think that can be interesting for both the viewer and for me to make it as well. So yeah, I think it is for me is I just have to push myself to expand, not like expand in the name of more subscribers. That is of course perfect, but expand my knowledge in how I craft things. Because that keeps my interest up.
Yeah, that's good.
And I kind of like, sometimes you get like thoughts that you fell into some trap of maybe, I see that the guys doing camera reviews, they're getting double of amount of views that I got, and talking about that camera and having more of instructional videos, they're getting a lot more views, and thinking, oh wow, that's cool. But for me, I don't like to do that kind of videos, and therefore I think, okay, I just need to stick with my plan, and that is to go out and take people with me and show that. And if people like it, perfect. So I've talked with quite a bit of people who are into wildlife photography, want to become content creators, and will ask me sometimes like, what can I do to get there, right? And I tell them this a lot. I tell them that getting to do content creation is amazing. It's an awesome thing to get to be able to do as a career, if you're lucky enough to be able to get to that point where you're able to do it as a career. As I've only kind of recently been getting to that stage where it's becoming more than 50% of my income. It's starting to get closer to there. But what I tell them all the time is that if you wind up it's a weird thing, right, of where you're kind of sacrificing in order, you're kind of making not sacrifices, compromises. You can make small compromises to get your video seen by more people and get your brand built a little further, right? So you can make small compromises, like maybe naming a title slightly differently. That's not a very big compromise to most content creators. Like most content creators are willing to name a title differently if it performs a little better, right? But you make small compromises like that. But when you start making those really big compromises, like doing types of content that you don't want to do, like what you just mentioned, that's where I tell people all the time, like that's where you're actually starting back at like square one. You're just becoming enslaved to a new type of job where you're having an employer tell you what to do, rather than you kind of getting to do out of the excitement of what you're wanting to build a career around, and then hopefully, being able to make small enough compromises to help it grow, but not the big ones. And so I love what you were sharing there about sticking to what you envision for yourself, what you want to do. And I think it's really awesome. And I know you've inspired a lot of people through that process, which is ultimately what matters, I think, even more so, right, than vanity metrics of growing and stuff like that. So I think that's really cool that you share that. Do you
so I guess you're kind of talking a little bit about, you know, who you are and your identity as a content creator and kind of what you like to do. How has this YouTube journey been for you? Have you experienced a lot of ups and downs and kind of like a roller coaster of emotions between feeling kind of like very excited at certain months and then kind of a little in a slump or almost even depressed at certain months? Or how has that been for you?
Of course, if I have to be totally honest, I think all content creators are experience ups and downs. If they don't, something is wrong, I guess. But for me, like I said, I need to stick with my plan, and it's the bonus is to get views and subscribers. But of course, it's always a great feeling when you're seeing that those number grows. And in that time, you like are more maybe inspired or more, what do you say, glowing and like feeling it's going somewhere.
Yeah.
So I have to admit that that is a part of like my journey as well. And the other side of it is, of course, even though I have told myself from the beginning that I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, because I am afraid that this is going to throw me off course and make me feeling less inspired and feeling more like work, and then burn myself out, because I don't want to burn myself out doing my like passion. So that has been a fine balance to walk on for me, and many times I have like just fallen down totally, feeling not inspired, but feeling I have to put out a video every week as well, and also having a certain amount of pressure to show perfect pictures, show a great result, because I have so much high expectation of myself, because of my personality is perfectionism, and that can work against me. So that might be my biggest enemy, but also it can be good to push myself. So I have to find a way to work around, so I use it for good and not for bad.
Yeah.
But I think I learned so much in life before YouTube that for now I can navigate to like say to myself on beforehand, this is not going to be a picnic. This is not going to be a walk in a park. There will be times that this is going to be hard, and there will be times that you won't see the numbers going the way you want to see them. And also like when you are growing, you are expecting more, and that's also a little danger pit to fall in, that you always like want more, is like consuming. But I don't want to fall in that as well, so I have to constantly remind myself, because those are the pits that can dry you out, they can like burn you out as well.
Wow.
But of course I have fallen, and like I said, November, December last year was probably the most hardest month that I ever experienced in my YouTube career. And not because of YouTube itself. I wasn't burned out, but it was like just the thing around it made it so much harder to produce videos, and it made it harder to feel inspired. And also this is the dark season here in Norway. We don't have too much light, and of course that can mess with your head if you never experienced that. It's a really challenge as well. So when you like combine that, it can be a challenge. And it was a lot of like working inside and sitting still. So I didn't, when I didn't go out, I didn't get any movement or like a physical activity as well. And starting to gain weight and wasn't in my shape at all. So everything, I was like, for the first time, I was like not looking forward to go to Dovre, because I knew that this is going to be extremely hard to go up the mountain with like 20 kilos in my backpack and with fully clothes on and upwards for many hours.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not going to make it. I'm in too bad of a shape. And after like that trip with the dipper, which I think was like a turning point, but also like saying to myself, this cannot go on like this. I have to do something about it. I started to like thinking, okay, I'm not taking a break for YouTube, but I'm not going to like think I have to put out a video every week. So let's take that pressure away on first, and then I need to start to do things that is healthy for my body. So I also started to work out 2 to 3 times a week, and started with a much better diet as well. And I remember one thing that I learned from a book, a Norwegian wildlife photographer, who is like a senior here in Norway. He is an amazing photographer and has been a professional wildlife photographer for many years. He wrote a book in Norwegian, and one of the tips that he put out there is to keep yourself in shape, because that is extremely important to be a better wildlife photographer, because you can go further, you can carry around the heavy backpack as well. There's so much benefit to just that. And I started like there. I need to start here, and then things can grow around me.
Yeah.
And it has been so much easier after that.
Yeah.
Into almost 3 months now.
Yeah. That's great. I'm very encouraged by just how real you're being and sharing like the struggles and the realities of, all of that, whether the things that can get you down and the temptations that there is with the numbers and all of that stuff. That's such a real part of content creation, and something that a lot of times we don't get to talk about enough. But I also like how you were sharing that while there's the downsides and the kind of the dark sides of being almost like a perfectionist, like what you're saying, where you feel like you have to present the best, there are some upsides because it pushes you to get better and to grow and all of those things. So trying to lean into the right side of those two things is really cool. So I love getting to hear that. I was also really encouraged about how you talked about humility. What role do you think humility comes in playing into your career or your path, your passion as a content creator?
I think as a wildlife photographer or a human being, for that, I think humility is extremely important. To know that you are not the best out there. You have still things to learn, and there are people around you that yet haven't done wildlife photography more than a year, but still can provide something for the people, the guy that has done it for 30 years.
Wow, yeah.
I think for me, that mentality has been a part of my personality way back before the photography part. And I think that is really important to release some of the stress of your shoulders as well. I don't need to perform, but like I said earlier, I'm a human being. I'm getting those thoughts. Of course I do. But my fundamental and my, like, call it basics, is I have an understanding that I am not the best out there.
Yeah.
But I'm still learning, and that makes me grow, and also that keeps me interesting, like in the photography part. That is why I do all these kind of stuff with YouTube and sound recording or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, humility in life in general is extremely important.
Yeah.
To be humble.
Yeah. I love that.
I don't know if this answered your questions though, but yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Whatever direction you're taking it. I love that. I recently got the chance to photograph in person, do wildlife photography with Ray Hennessy. I don't know if you're familiar with Ray Hennessy. But
yep.
In my opinion, he's one of the greater bird photographers out there. Like, I really admire his work. He just has a phenomenally creative eye, and yeah, it was just great getting to be with him in person. And I loved being able to have that mentality of like humbling myself kind of before him, just to hear his feedback. Like, I was getting to ask him questions about, you know, what I can work on, what I can grow on, where am I maybe not up to par in, what do I have the most work to do in, and then getting to see how he did it live out in the field was really cool for me, because it was getting to kind of like reinvigorate this creative side to me that had felt like it had fallen asleep for a while. Kind of like what you were talking about, how it feels like you can just go out time and time again sometimes on a treadmill, like a never-ending treadmill, and you're just doing the same thing over and over. So getting to do that was so great. I love having that mindset of humility, and I think that's something that anyone can really benefit from, like you said. Going back to the numbers, you talked about you were talking about numbers and the temptations, but also how they do give you kind of invigorating feelings and exciting feelings at times too. I know the biggest video you've ever made has reached over 500,000 views, and it's you know gotten pretty dang big. So I know the numbers say that it's the most successful video you've ever had. Would you say that's the most successful video you've ever had? If so, why or why not?
No. I think this video is okay, but it's like the older one. I just had been on YouTube for a year or so, and for me, I have learned so much more, and I'm hoping to do more of those kind of videos. Though I can understand why it was like going sort of viral, because of the way I like go out and camping on a certain island and doing whatever birds I can find there, and fishing, and I love those videos. I'm definitely going to do more of those videos there. I have planned for that, but production wise, I think I've learned so much more over the years. Therefore, I think I have done better job than that video there.
Yeah.
But that is just the way I feel it, because I know I have had a growth in how to craft video over the years, and I know that what is like the pits you can fall into and how to craft it as well. So it's the perfectionism in me that talking there.
Yeah.
But I think maybe, I don't know, but maybe the simplicity of the video is appealing to a lot of people out there. So yeah. But of course, when I saw those numbers rising and my subscribers rising, like I said, it was only a good amount of year that I've been on YouTube. I was excited and afraid at the same time, thinking of, okay, I have to do all these things of for so many people. I know that when I started, it was almost just my friends, my families, and the guys I knew from the photo club. And then you do not have that like pressure on you. But when you start to grow, you have another type of pressure, which you experience. And when you grow fast, you are going to have a little, like, I don't know what it calls in English, but like growing pain.
Yep, growing pains. Yeah.
So I did experience that in that part there. It was so excited, but so scary as well.
Yeah.
But really, really cool to be a part of it, and witness that.
That's great. What does it mean to you to be a successful wildlife photography content creator?
That is a good question. I think if I'm going to go a little bit more onto details and then the whole picture of that question there, I think my success rate is probably the feeling I have sitting down, editing a video, and I think, oh, this is going to be great. I have a lot of material. I have pictures to show. I have things to work with to create a story that I hope to create, and I have the thing for it, and putting it all together and also seeing it perform. That is probably the best feelings I got in the terms of YouTube and wildlife. But of course, if I'm thinking long term, I'm hoping to stay inspired, keep doing the things that I do, and provide new content, new trips, and also like staying true to the work that I do, and put it out there, and hopefully I can do that for a long time.
Yeah. Do you think, because I know you've talked a lot about like kind of like I guess the stress that having a larger audience can put on you, and also even financially could put on you. Do you think if you had the opportunity tomorrow to make at least your living necessary income as a content creator, as a wildlife photography content creator, do you think you'd take it, or do you think you would keep your hands off and say, no, I just want to keep this as a passion?
If I got the opportunity?
Yeah.
I've thought of that myself. And that is a scary thought. And the reason why I think it's scary is because I have a family, I have kids. I'm not alone, so I'm providing for other people in my life. And I think that is the most scary part of it. To have the unknown income, and not knowing, but that is just my feelings.
Yeah.
But the other side is really excited to be able to having like to create my own time schedule and doing stuff like that. But I know as a wildlife photographer, in professional terms, it also involves a lot of traveling and a lot of going here and going there and lectures here, and that is a hard thing to combine with family for me, though.
Yeah.
So as I was thinking about this over a year ago now, when I started in a new job, I work at the photo store Stavanger Photo now, which I have had a partnership for a long time. And the perfect thing there is I can combine my hobby, and I have the possibility to go out a day to make films. I'm also making YouTube content for for Stavanger Photo in Norwegian in its own YouTube channel. So I'm actually running 2 channels.
Nice.
For those who know Norwegians. But that make it possible to say that this day here in the middle of the week I can go out and make a video. And there is a certain amount of freedom in that, as well as gear-wise and having a little bit more easy access. Yeah. So right now, I think I have it really, really good.
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's cool.
It's I'm getting both in the life I'm living now with the work and wildlife.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I don't know Norwegian, but I'll go check out the channel and see if I can catch anything.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. That's really interesting, your response to that question, because I think that probably 95% of people who are doing content creation that are not full-time yet, and if they were given the opportunity, I think 95%, maybe even more, would take it. Like I think that most people, that is their hope and intention, but it's interesting just observing and hearing your reasons why you may not want that. And those are really good reasons too. Really great things to think about.
But I have to say though, if you ask me that 2 years ago, my answer would probably be a different one. Before I started that work in Stavanger Photo. It would probably be a different kind of one, because that job there was okay, but that was not family friendly with working time, and it was quite a struggle. And then I would of course take the package with a full-time wildlife photographer.
Yeah.
But for now, I feel this. It's maybe because I'm starting to get a little old and into the habits of having those like incomes that are regularly.
Yeah, regularly. Yeah.
So, yeah. Maybe, but yeah.
Yeah. So, a lot of people look up to you, what you do. What would you say as an encouragement to those who kind of look up to you and follow you and are wanting to get either more into wildlife photography or even content creation itself?
So I think number one would be just be passionate about the hobby. First of all, if you're starting wildlife photography, just learn as much as you can about photography and also about wildlife and birds. Get to know the subject you're photographing is essential for succeeding in wildlife, actually, because if you don't know the subject, it's so much harder to be at the right place at the right time.
Yeah.
But if you do that, it's bigger chance of getting images of a bird getting close as well. And if you want to be a content creator, I think for me it was an experiment to see if this is going to be something that I like or enjoying. I didn't do it to think that I'm going to grow with thousands of subscribers and going to earn money. I'm going to be a full-time YouTuber. That was not my intention. It might be yours, but for me, I had to find what is keeping me inspired and keeping me doing this over and over and over again. Because it's going to be a lot of work, and if you don't enjoy it, you will quit really, really fast, because you are going to see when it comes to a certain, it might be fun at the start, but when you're starting to do it enough times, you can see the struggle will come at you, and you need to be prepared of that. So if you are, and if your goal is like passion, and you have a passion about the goal, I think it would be much easier to realize that this growing thing in YouTube takes time.
Yeah.
And for some people, it can go fast. For some people, it takes a long time. But I think my best tip for you who are thinking about that is to stay true to yourself. Just, if this is your passion, just do it, and keep crafting the art. Either it's wildlife photography or a content creator. Just keep crafting, because that will keep you on toes and keep you like in the bad times. And when I say bad times, it's maybe those times where you see that your numbers are not increasing, or maybe decreasing as well. You're losing subscribers, you don't get as much as views that you got at the other videos, and you're like trying to analyze why is that happen. But in those times, it's really important to stay true to yourself and know the reason why you started this channel in the first place. If you do that, so much easier to get through those things. I'm not saying it's going to be easy to go through it, but it will be easier, and maybe keep it alive for a much longer period. And you will adapt, because you're going to learn, and we want that.
Yeah.
So I think that probably is my best tip, to stay true to yourself, and like think about what is your passion, what drives you to do either wildlife photography or a content creator, both. Yeah, that keeps you motivated for a longer period of time.
Yeah, that's good. Having a solid footing when things aren't going well numbers wise or things like that, having a solid reason and purpose in what you're going for. I've definitely had to go through a lot of that myself, so I can relate to that too. What's a piece of advice that you would give to me on the outside looking at my content? Do you have any thoughts or pieces of wisdom you'd like to share there?
I think it rewinds back to what I said at the beginning there, with like asking yourself what is your passion, what are you liking about the whole photography and content creating? What is like, what excites you in the journey? And like try to build around that, because that excitement, the passion that you have inside you, that comes through in video. And I think if you finding that passion there, it's so much easier for you to just keep rolling. And the same thing is with like just try not to be anybody else. Just be yourself, because you are interesting. And do what you love, and then you will grow to do like crafting a different kind. And the great thing about you, Jeremy, is that you are extremely creative. You have like you want I've never met you in person. I've talked to you many times now online, and I know that my feelings about how you are is that you want everybody around you to grow, and you are so good person, and you want the best in everyone. And the same thing is for your channel as well. That is one of those things that shine through, is you want the best for everyone. So probably the best tip is just to stay consistent with that. Just never lose your heart in it. Just keep pushing. And I know you are a hardworking guy, and do not want to do things halfway. Like, you don't want to do it 50%. You want to do it 150%. You want to do it perfectly. and that is also a great thing. So keep that also in mind when you're doing content, and especially when you struggle in times. So
that's good.
That's my tip.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I paid Trond to say all of those good things about me. That was the sponsored segment right there.
Yeah. Do you want my account number after we talk?
Yeah. No, we can do it publicly here on camera that way.
Okay, yeah. Perfect.
Oh, man. No, that's good. I really appreciate you saying that. So, so what's next for you with your wildlife photography? I guess, what are you planning on doing next? Do you have any kind of sort of next stages of kind of growth, whether that be production-wise or different types of content that you're looking to, or any new creative ways of doing things? Or, what does that look like for you?
I think I touched it a little bit in the beginning, but I want to do more of like storytelling. Going out camping, doing more of the camping videos, and combine that with wildlife photography. So that is probably my main goal for this year here, to do more of that. I have a couple of travels coming up. One in April, I'm going back to Svalbard in wintertime. And also I'm going to Svalbard in the end of June with all those birds coming back. So I'm really, really excited for those. But other than the larger trips, I am going to spend a lot of time near my cottage, taking my tarp or my tent, and maybe sleep outside. I think that could be a really interesting thing to do. I received a sleeping bag of a new company called Bigelow, which can hold minus 40 degrees. So I'm really excited to try to sleep out with only the sleeping bag. So more of those kind of content though, but combining it with wildlife. I don't want to go over to a camping channel or I will keep it to wildlife, but I will emerge the thing more and do more of that in my content to make a bigger story. And I'm planning to do more of the beavers. I have already checked. There is a lot of beaver activity, but last time I was there was ice, so I didn't see any beavers. But it definitely are there, and I'm going to spend a lot of time, maybe sleep over there night and record a night. That could be excited as well. So I have a lot of thoughts on that. And of course, I'm just pushing myself to craft the videos in the edited process as well. And as I said, also like the sound recordings. I love to just have my sound recorder or a microphone and a headset and just sit there and listen and record the sounds of nature to incorporate that in the videos as well. So I can say that I followed a Swedish guy that do camping videos, but before YouTube he was a sound engineer, and he has a really expensive sound equipment. But if you are watching his videos, he doesn't say anything. He just shows his thumbs up when he's drinking coffee. But his sounds, his ambient sounds that you can hear with like flies, when you are having the headset on, you hear flies go over here and zzz, all those kind of things there. It like was really inspiring to listen to, and I thought I need to incorporate that into my videos to get the nature even more into my videos as well.
Yeah.
So those kind of things, I think, is always on my mind to keep like pushing my content and pushing the way I create the videos as well.
Yeah, I love that.
And also I got lately I got a lot of people saying I want longer content, not just 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm also going to do longer videos in the future. I can promise you that.
That's cool.
But the reason why I haven't done so long videos, especially in the start, is I think maybe I need to like start to in the small. It's much easier to craft something small than something large.
Mm-hmm.
But as you grow in knowledge and how to do stuff like that, it's easier to craft longer videos as well to keep it interesting.
Yeah.
Because that is the hardest part, to keep it interesting in the longer terms.
Yep. Yeah.
Therefore, I stick to a shorter videos, but having the pace up. But as my while I'm growing, I'm now able to make longer videos and still keep the pace up.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things that I really liked about the trip that I had with the other guys from YouTube at Dovre, photographing the Maskaksen with Gunnar Dressler and Espen Helland, Oddbjørn Austervik. That was an amazing experience to make those longer videos, and also to have other people to interact with as well. So that is also a thing that I'm hoping to do more of in the future, because that is so fun to be with others with the same like interest, and
Yeah, most definitely. I love that. Yeah, no, that was really fun to watch. Something that I love the story you got to share in those films that you made. Something in particular I did enjoy was getting to see Gunnar's attitude and personality shine through even in your videos, because that guy's just a ball of fire. So
yes, so fun to be around. So
yep, and yeah, all you guys are awesome people. So it's cool to see you guys come together. I was thinking of you the other day. You mentioned the beaver, and I know you really enjoy the beaver, and I've seen your videos where you go to your cottage and stuff. I was thinking of you the other day because about a month ago, I had an experience where I was setting up for some waterfowl in the morning, about 50 minutes before sunrise. So it was pitch black, like I couldn't even barely see the ground in front of me because I'm not using a flashlight. That way I don't scare them away. But I walk up to the side of the lake, and as I'm getting into prone, I scare a beaver out. And the beavers, I had no idea, but the beaver den must have been right there or something. So I scare him out, and he swims off into the lake, and I think he's gone. I can't even see at this point. But about 20 minutes later, it's still very dark, but you're barely getting that blue starting to come in on the sky. And, when I'm cranking my ISO up to like 25,600, I could see a little bit through the camera. And this beaver just starts coming like 10 feet away from me, just circling right in front of me. And it was an incredible experience, but it was all like such low light that I didn't get quite as good at shots as I would have wanted. But I know you would have been enjoying that moment right there.
Wow, cool.
So, but I can also relate to you were talking about. Yeah, that long form, like that's something I continually want to get into more, because I love that and I really enjoy it. And I myself enjoy watching very entertaining and well-paced long form content. But it's so hard because this standard that I kind of have for my production value and my pacing to keep people engaged, because I know that if I'm watching my video back and I'm bored, like I don't want to share that. I don't want if I'm bored, I'm sure other people would be bored too. So for me, I feel like I need to keep something that I'm satisfied with, like a pacing, and I haven't been able to put in the time quite as much as I'd like to be able to create that longer form content at the pacing that I still want. So that's a hard struggle, but something I hope to get into more as well, and hopefully can start doing a little bit more too. But as I kind of always ask to everyone that I like to what is the single most important thing for wildlife photographers to know in terms of a piece of advice that you could give them? So wildlife photography specifically, not content creation.
The most important thing is probably to respect nature, to be respectful over the subject you are photographing, not pushing it, and not like the morals and ethics of that you are walking into their home. That's really important. And the way to do that is also getting knowledge about your subject. Like I said earlier, to know your subject, it's more likely that you can know how to get close without disturbing. And I'm loving using camouflage as part of my wildlife photography, because when you are doing that, you make them behave natural as well. And for me, I always start, I talked about that in my latest video, photographing garden birds. When I'm photographing a new species, I always start to getting the portraits of it. And I love good portraits of a species. After that, I want to have more of the natural behavior, their interaction, even though it's like the singing bird, or a bird with like pruning and flapping its wings, all the mating like rituals or whatever. I love to photograph that, and the best way to do that is to be invisible. And I think probably that is the most exciting part for me, though, to be a wildlife photographer, is to be invincible. And I think I have that from my idol that I was talking about earlier, Ben Simate. He was calling himself the invincible photographer. He was an expert of hiding himself in creative ways. And that is, I guess, the thing that I like the most, is to be invincible and let the birds and animal behave naturally.
Yeah.
And the more you know about the subject, it's much easier to place yourself in that position there without disturbing.
Yeah.
So that is the most important thing that you have to know when you're photographing wildlife. And then you can work yourself around that.
Yeah, I love that. That's a good piece of advice. Getting to know your subject and respecting nature, like you said, and ultimately, like I've told a lot of people when I've taught classes and stuff, respecting nature and your subject actually leads to better photos. You know, like you're saying,
it does.
That knowledge and getting to actually see the behaviors and getting them to be able to, facing towards you, towards the camera, and all of that good stuff. So that's a really great piece of advice. Well, yeah, thanks for coming on, Trond. It was an honor getting to have you on, hear a lot more about your story and kind of your journey. And it's been really refreshing to hear. And I'm sure will encourage and inspire a lot of people. So
thanks for having me.
Thank you all for watching. If you want to check out more of Trond Westby's content, make sure you go check out his channel in the link below. And if you enjoyed this interview and want to see more like this, I'd be honored if you subscribe to Birdburger below as well. I'll see you guys next time.